welcome to Where They Wander. We are Kat and Kev, and we travel full-time around the United States in our Grand Design Imagine.
This week, we're still in Durango. We're going to take a walk around town and visit the train museum.
We have come back down to Durango from our camp because we didn't really have an awful lot of time yesterday after the train ride, and we were quite tired to go to the museum and really have a look around Durango. So that's what we're going to do today. Our first stop of the day had to be at Jean-Pierre's French patisserie and restaurant. It was outstanding. This is called the Strada Hotel, and we just learned some of the Durango history, some of the maybe not so pleasant Durango history. So I just walked past a lady giving a tour of historic Durango, and it is a beautifully historic town. And she was talking about the last hanging that was done here, and apparently Durango is famous for having a state-of-the-art hanging system, and it was a pulley, so instead of dropping the person to be hung, it was a pulley, so it pulled them up. Pleasant history from Durango. There you go. If you come away from Main Street, they have these lovely little back alleys that have, I don't know if they call them back alleys here, but lovely little alleyways that have all of these food trucks, which is really nice, and a beautiful patio up here. Let's go on in. We did have coffee with breakfast or brunch, but now I have a chai. Just happens to have another shot of espresso in it. Sometimes when, you know, we don't get that much sleep, or it's cold in the rig or something, we just need to have 4 shots of espresso in a day, which I think is just the right amount. I have found my favourite store so far. It is a loose tea store. I love tea. And this is a beautiful tea store. It's called the Old Barrel Tea Company. And they have everything from herbals to whites and oolongs, black teas, and then all of the nice things to actually go with the tea, which is lovely. Look at this. We were lucky enough to see the 2 locomotives that take the train all the way to Silverton, which takes all day. If you are not one of our subscribers yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We'd really appreciate it. And that way you can keep up with all our adventures. We are back at the museum. We just didn't really have enough time to give it justice yesterday. So we came back today, had a walk around Main Street, as you see. Now this is the original portion of the roundhouse that burnt down in the late 70s, early 80s, I believe. And so the museum is called the Roundhouse Museum. However, the actual building of the museum was built, I believe the lady said, in 1989. But she did say if we peer through these windows, you might be able to see inside and see what they're working on in the roundhouse. She said they're working on a boiler. It's kind of cool. The Durango rail line was opened in 1870. It wasn't until the 60s, however, that the Durango and Silverton Railway was established. That was established by Bradshaw, who created it as more of a tourist attraction. But in the 1870s, when this was originally opened, this blew Colorado wide open and allowed people to come and spread into the west and spread into this area. So very, very famous. It's the longest continuously running narrow gauge railroad in North America. And it's not just a railway museum. So they have the bear here and this beautiful elk. Look at that, isn't he gorgeous? Bears bite. I don't think these guys bite anymore, but look at all of these heads up here. Goodness me. All of these animals died of natural causes. I don't think they did. This is the only original wall from the original roundhouse. Yeah, so these are the kind of fish that they have right here. As you can see, this is not just a train museum. This is a museum of the area. It's not just about the railway. There's beautiful lakes here that you can visit, and obviously the mountains you can go hiking in. These are gorgeous canoes right here. Oh, we saw those kind of sheep. These sheep, we saw them up in Glacier when we were on the Glacier Road. They were so pretty. Gosh, they were so close too. I'll put a link to the Glacier video up for you guys, but look at these beautiful cars. This is a 1924 Model T Ford. And as you well know, Ford said you can have any color as long as it's black. And that's absolutely beautiful, isn't it? Look at this. This right here is a 1923 Nash. I don't think I've ever heard of a Nash before, but this was actually used by some homesteaders for deliveries of dry goods and fruits and vegetables. This stunning and quite rare 1919 Hupmobile was built by an ex-employee of Oldsmobile and Ford. His name was Robert Hupp, and he and his brother started Hupp Motors. Hupmobile. I'm not sure anybody has ever, I had certainly never heard of a Hupmobile. It was a steam whistle organ with a loud, shrill sound and audible miles away, as is most often, it was to attract people to such fun events as the circus or the fair. There are model railroads, and then there are model railroads. This was built by a master modeler. His name is Bruce Longwell. He built this in 2009, and he said that he has had a love of model railways since he was a child.
So this was an old roundhouse, and you can see where the engines would come in. Right here's one track, and there's other doors down this way. Now this roundhouse is no longer in service. The most important thing they have here is an old locomotive right here. This is an Alco. Let's go have a look inside. Now on this side here, you've got where the engineer sits and controls the locomotive from this seat here is where he controls the locomotive. This side here is where the fireman sits, and he's controlling the boiler. And here's the boiler right here. It's got different valves and sight glasses. We do this. There's a better picture of it. This picture right here tells you where everything is. See that?
I think this one is my favorite. This is a 1925 Model A in cherry red, and it's got the Texaco logo on the side. I think it did actually deliver oil. Look at this. Isn't it beautiful? A little truck. It's adorable. A 1900 steam-powered car. This was powered by steam, and it was made by the Steam-Powered Motor Company. Look at this, isn't it beautiful? This is a theatre car. I wonder if this actually was an operating theatre car. It certainly looks original. It was built to look like a premium coach, however, it was actually a prop, and it was one of 3 built for the 1969 Academy Award-winning movie Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, with Paul Newman and Robert Redford. Well, if you are a railway fan or a model railway fan, you should definitely come here. This is incredible. Built by Jim Vale, 1930. Oh, he passed away. Sorry, historian and master model builder for the Glenwood and Black Creek Railroad Company. And it's beautiful. Look at the size of this thing. It's huge. I don't know how many trains they've got going on here, but it's pretty impressive. I love it. A local gentleman called Bud Davis hand cast these soldiers. He cast over 5,000 soldiers in his lifetime, and there are just 1,200 of them here at their museum. But they're, oh my gosh, they're so detailed, they're incredible. There's a nasty British again. Look at that. Wow. This is a replica of the first aircraft to ever fly in Durango. Now, if you've seen our video from Kitty Hawk, you'll be able to see the first plane that ever flew at all, but this was the first one to fly in Durango. How fun.
We've made our way to the outside of the roundhouse, and as you can see the turntable here. You can see all the tracks going into all the bays, and they've got some rolling stock here. You've got locomotives back here and some tank cars, and there's a caboose right here.
So this is the original roundhouse. Now, it did burn, but I think when they rebuilt it, they kind of built it so from this point this way, it was built in the 1980s. But look how they've made it just so similar.
Right. So they used the shops on this side, on this side where the doors are open, but the shops on this side aren't open anymore. It's the museum. They only use the outside for storage here on this side.
But look at this, and this is now this table turns, doesn't it, Kevin?
Yeah, this is the turntable, so you go on there and you can turn around if you need to. So you don't need a Y if you have a turntable. What a great museum this is. Even if you're not a train buff and not a train enthusiast, there's all kinds of things here. There's all kinds of animals, there's history of the area, there's history of mining, there's all kinds of cars here, there's a lot of different old artifacts of the town, and if you come here, kids will love it. There's lots of places for them to look at.
We really enjoyed our time exploring Durango and the museum. Definitely, if you are in the area, give this town and the train a try.
Join us next week when we begin our adventures in Utah. Until then, we'll see you on the trail.